goodness, I'm having so much fun inside of Brave Academy right now. We are actually doing a 14-day self-trust challenge. After a couple weeks ago, I did a surprise bonus workshop on how to stop letting fear run your life. And that fed into this 14-day challenge. And women are taking action on things that they had not planned to take action on before and getting so many wins and building that self-trust and that confidence. And it is so fun to experience. Now, today, I want to dive into an episode that's a little bit different than usual. And I want to speak directly to the part of you that is waiting to feel ready, waiting for the timing to be right, waiting for the chaos to slow down. And I want to offer you a question. And this is a question that changed everything for me and for so many women that I worked with. When it comes to healing, if not now, when? When? If you're holding back on making a change that you deeply crave, it might be because of your kids, your job, the money, or the fear of doing it wrong. And I want you to know this: your life is not waiting. And I know that you know your life isn't waiting. And I know how helpful it is sometimes to hear the things that we're pretending are not happening. Each day is going to continue to pass, whether you listen to the voice inside of you that is craving change or not. And to be honest, too many women come into my world and regret that they didn't make the change years ago. I've heard women say, I wish I would have worked with you 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Do you want that to be you? I don't. And today we're going to explore just how one decision, one immersive moment, one brave yes can quite literally change the entire trajectory of your healing in the best way. So let's get into it. I talk to so many high achieving, high functioning, deeply thoughtful women that are probably much like you. And they say things like, I want to heal. It's just, I'm not ready yet. It's not the best time. I have X, Y, Z going on. I just need to get through this season right now first, and they'll do that later. I don't know. Is this taking away from my family? I hear all kinds of comments like this, and I get it. Those thoughts sound reasonable. You may have kids, you have a job, you have bills, you have people counting on you at work, in your personal life, and so on. But here's the honest truth that I've had to face in my own life. Later rarely feels easier. That perfect time that you're waiting for, it often never comes. Just think back, pause and think back for a moment. How many times were you waiting for the perfect time or to have more time to do something? Genuinely, it often never comes. And this is coming from my own experience, but also working with women from ages 18 to 79. Eventually, you wake up realizing life has been in survival mode. That life that you've built is in survival. And I don't want you to look back and ask the same question, make the same statement. I wish I would have worked with you 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. Let me ask you this. What if readiness, feeling ready, isn't actually a feeling? What if it's a decision? Most women that I work with, they didn't feel ready either. They felt overwhelmed, tired, on the brink, maybe on the brink of burnout, completely stressed. But somewhere deep inside, part of them knew, I can't keep living this way. And that whisper, that tiny moment of willingness is what ignites real change. So if you've been waiting to feel ready, maybe it's not meant for you to feel ready. Maybe you're meant to feel called and to finally make a different choice where you honor feeling called, where you listen to the part of you that is saying, do it. I'm going to take you back to October 2013. I was doing all the right things. In fact, I was almost done with my PhD in psychology. I had seen numerous therapists over the years, starting from when I was a kid. I'd read all the self-help books, used the coping tools, tried to stay positive, and I was exhausted. I was defensive, I was anxious, and I felt like something was flawed at my core. I felt broken. And yet, if you asked most people around me, everyone saw me as the strong one, the one who had it together, the one whose life looked perfect. But behind the scenes, to those I was closest with, I would lash out in rage. I'd have frequent, reoccurring emotional breakdowns. I felt like I couldn't be my true self. I didn't know who my true self was, but at the time I thought I did. I would go to the worst case scenario often. I felt like I didn't know what I wanted anymore. I would be anxious if I thought I made a mistake, or if I did make a mistake, or if things didn't go according to plan. And the list honestly could go on and on and on. But then I did something that might feel radical. I said yes to a retreat. Was I ready? No, not really. Was the timing perfect? Not even close. I was in a pretty new job. I'd only been in it for a few months. I was still learning so much. And taking 5 days off during the week felt like a lot. It didn't feel like very good timing at all. But 5 days later, I walked out of that room a completely different woman. That retreat did not just shift my mindset. It brought a sense of calm to my nervous system that I had never felt before. And I didn't just learn tools, I became the kind of woman who used them automatically. And from that moment on, I quite literally could not see the world or myself the same. That was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. Why I had been feeling broken finally made sense. Why I had reoccurring emotional breakdowns finally made sense. Why I would lash out in rage finally made sense. Why I felt defensive finally made sense. Why I felt anxious finally made sense. Why I would fall into worst case scenario thinking finally made sense. And I want to pause here. And it didn't make sense in a way that, like, oh, yeah, my parents struggled with that. Oh, yeah, it was my trauma. Oh, yeah, that's just the way that I am. That's not what I mean when I am saying made sense. I'm talking about there were things that I was doing on a daily basis that were creating the things that I did not want in myself. And I had no idea. It didn't just make sense. I knew exactly what to do to step out of those things. I walked in thinking, this is just who I am. And I walked out knowing, deeply knowing that was a lie that I had believed my entire life and never needed to believe again. I knew exactly what to do to no longer feel controlled by these things that I had seen as flaws. And you might be thinking, how on earth could 5 days like do what countless therapists and self-help books and all this stuff couldn't do? Immersion. Immersion breaks the pattern that your daily life keeps reinforcing. When you're stuck in your normal environment, everything, your schedule, your responsibilities, your relationship is wired to keep you in survival mode. Healing in that environment is like trying to fix a broken engine while still driving a car. When you try to fix a broken engine while driving a car, can you make progress? Yeah. Is it likely going to take a heck of a long time? Yeah. Immersion hits pause. It creates this like cocoon of safety, of peace, and of possibility. And it allows you to fully experience the tools so that your body can feel what you're being offered. Something that if you're just reading or you're just listening or you're just watching a video, it doesn't do it the same way. Your nervous system can stop bracing in that moment and start embodying and learning the truth. And it's not that therapy doesn't help, it absolutely can. But most therapy sessions happen in 50 to 60-minute windows between the chaos and are focused on mindset changes, especially if you're going to talk therapy. Retreats offer sustained nervous system regulation in an environment where healing doesn't just click mentally, it lands in your body. I want to tell you about Rachel. She came to BRAVE-cation and she was unsure if she even belonged in the group. She quite literally told me, I don't really know if I'm your ideal client. I don't know if I'm the type of person that you tend to work with. And she had very similar fears. What if this doesn't work? Am I being selfish, taking away from my husband and my daughter? What if they need me? What if this is just who I am? She was a perfectionist. She was a helper. She was a mom who was always there for everyone except herself. But after 5 days, she said, I had an eye opening revelation. I thought I was just an anxious person, that this was just who I was, but I realized that the real root cause, and for the first time, I didn't just know it, I felt it and I healed. And in the coming weeks that followed, that this negative pattern between her daughter and her that had been popping up daily completely disappeared. That's the power of immersion. So I want to go back to that original question. If not now, when? Every time we say later, we unknowingly say yes to another, I'm going to say month, but honestly, this could be years. This could be decades. Another month of panic, another month of anxiety, another month of resentment, another month of overthinking, another month of trying to prove yourself, another month of trying to meet everyone else's expectations, another month of disconnection, another season showing up as functioning instead of feeling free, instead of breaking those generational cycles that have been keeping you stuck. So here's what I want you to remember. Later feels safe, but it is very often a disguise for fear. Now can feel scary, and it's the doorway to freedom, to liberation, to life change. These are all things that I hear all the time. What happens at BRAVE-cation isn't just a moment. It is a momentous shift. And you're going to walk away feeling regulated nervous system, clarity on what's been keeping you stuck, and exactly how to break free for good, emotional release and somatic healing that actually lasts, feeling grounded, feeling worthy, and feeling present in your own skin, and a sense of self-trust that you didn't know you could reclaim. And when you combine that with Brave Academy, we're not just going to get you a breakthrough, I'm also going to make sure that you're provided integration. When I had my first retreat experience, I didn't have any direct support afterward. And now, more than 12 years later, I know that that was really important. Having that expert to guide me to integrate and to fully embody everything was missing. And so I'm giving that to you with BRAVE-cation so that everyone who attends will receive 3 months of guided support afterwards. In other words, the retreat is going to give you the reset, and Academy is going to give you the roadmap to keep going and to fully embody it in your daily life. So if something in your gut is whispering right now, maybe it's time, I want to personally invite you to join the BRAVE-cation priority list. You're going to get early access to apply before I publicly open the doors, and you will receive a free guided meditation that is a return to center nervous system reset for women. All you need to do is just go to www.brave-method.com/priority-list. And I will put that in the show notes so you can just click it directly there. I want you to know that the things that you struggle with, they are not just the way that you are. I believed that, and so many women that I have worked with believe that, but they don't anymore. You're not broken. You're not behind. You're not asking for too much. You are a woman who has held it together and is finally ready to let herself be held by someone else. And that is more than a retreat. It's a reset, it's a return, and it is your next brave step. As always, I'm cheering you on.